I totally disagree with such an agenda because our democracy is under attack. We've come so far as a country to still go back to the dark days where we didn't have choices. I think this takes us back to looking at what are the roles of political parties. Why is it essentially that today we have so many political parties in Kenya? What are the choices that they give the people who are in those parties and even the people who want to get into the active leadership positions in this country? So then if you tell a party like Ford Kenya, which essentially represent what multi-party system represents, because it's the oldest serving party in this country, to fall and join into one big umbrella of a party, that I think by itself is far-fetched, and we are trying to reduce what we will call the freedom of even bargaining, because we have to be realistic. The political parties are bargaining tools to power, and also they serve to bring other people's interests to power. By power by default, basically, what I'm looking at realistically as a Kenyan in this particular ANC and Ford Kenya having to merge and form a merge and then combine and be part of one party in Kenya Kwanza, is that now next elections, if we are looking at appointments from the Luhya land. And by the way, I've been thinking into myself, first of all, before I comment into that, and asking that, you see, the Luhyas have been having their Awashemejes from home. They've been having the elusive Luhya unity, which by themselves they have not been able to be united. So maybe this is an opportunity for them to be united and have one particular standing so they can associate with the party. Now, if you're looking at the regional balancing, and because us, from where we come from, for a very long time, we have been associated with ODM. It's just that of recent we have other parties coming in, but still ODM is what many of, yes, we're associated with. So Luhyas have been trying to form unity, but they can never unite themselves. So maybe the president is offering them a platform. But if you look at it in other ways, this will limit their bargaining power. This will limit, I think, their representation democratically, maybe into the few seats you've seen, and you've seen that play out. Because ANC, if you look at the government, they have like the PS Obundo is from ANC. You'll see Ford Kenya also has its own nomination and things like that. So then maybe in the future, now the president's saying, because we have to make this table bigger. So that means for the sake of inclusivity, and Kenya Kwanza is trying to have its footprint across many regions in the country, then if we can only have one voice as Luhya in this particular house, so that we don't have Wetangula and we don't have Mudavadi, also them having parties and have equal powers. So then we are speaking one. So we have only maybe 5 appointments for the Luhya Habagusi community, and it's like that. So nobody's agreed. We have agreed. We move forward. But then the bigger question will be, now if you're looking at now, like they're going to the party elections, and we have the 2 positions for deputy party leaders. So what is going to Mudavadi? So what becomes of Wetangula if he folds his party? And it's that issue of the deputy party leader that is actually in contention, especially in Mount Kenya region. Jimmy mentioned it, because if at all, and according to what Jimmy suggests, that Mount Kenya region are a bit uncomfortable with this arrangement, even the talk about folding parties, even about the election itself, and the fact that the people who are trying to influence to have at least 3 deputy party leaders. That is a crux of the matter. That is the issue. If at all Mount Kenya would be allowed to have its own party, that changes the game.
Yes, 100%. We don't need permission. We don't need to be allowed to have our own political party. We need to correct that statement.
Unless you leave the current formation of the ruling coalition.
We are a democratic country, and we live in a multi-party system now. We cannot afford to go back to one-party system. 2, Mount Kenya region is not up for grabs because somebody secures a deputy party leadership position and then they'll say all the votes will go to this person. No. We need to have a deeper conversation. Because as Mount Kenyans, we are totally, not partially, against the folding of the other parties. We are totally against the folding of the parties. Because that will be the beginning of where the rain will begin to beat us. 1, it will be UDA, and then there'll be Ford Kenya ANC, then you'll hear CCK and all the other parties. Dictatorship sneaks in slowly. And it is until they come for you, you realize how serious it is. So when you see them coming for your brother, or your neighbor, or your sister, you need to be worried. What am I saying? I'm a strong proponent of regional balkanization because regional interests, what we have in the western area, the coastal region and the Mount Kenya region, those interests are purely different. And they can only be secured through a political system. A political system, you can only be active if you have a forum where you're able to talk about your interest, organize yourselves and say this is the direction you want to take because the next administration is offering these parks and those other parks. If you do not have a party, you have no chance of negotiating. She has said very well. We have appointees from ANC from Ford Kenya. Mudavadi would not be where he was if he had folded his party. The same applies for Papa Aroma. So when you ask, and I would feel very sad should Papa Aroma allow himself to fold Ford Kenya, because it was a forum of restoration of democracy. What democracy would he be restoring if he folds his own party? Further, this attempt to fold all this, to collapse these parties to one big party in quotes, is a confession that UDA will not be able to make the next administration. So they're trying to make inroads to see how best can they negotiate with regions to try and mobilize votes. Unfortunately, it has become a spent tidal wave. And that's why you see even the planned party elections have been very well scattered, far away from Mount Kenya region, far away from Central region. You've seen how they're trying to...
Are you saying this process is going to be inconsequential?
We have spoken about this long enough. It's a done deal.
It's a done deal.
Even if it happens, just be superficially done, but it will not yield anything. The boat...
Yet even in our discussion about political parties, the structures